start with, let's see, I've got an outline here. Okay, for my notes. Cool, so let's see, who we got? We have got Mr. Robert Tables. Litany. And Christina, you all know each other. How have you been? Let's talk about the, oh, good. Fritz is going to join us in a moment. Okay, so let's talk about overall, I'd like to just go from the mod standpoint. Let's start there. And then David, I'd like you to just pop in a little bit and let us know about that process moving forward, how we can polish things up a little. I know that Mark, this was the first time that you took lead on the mods for the production team, which was great. Congratulations and thanks so much for doing that. I kind of want to hear what you thought about it, Mark, and some things that could shift. It seemed like things went pretty well with the mods. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, we got the mods down to a pretty well-oiled machine. We had one no-show, one late turn-up, but other than that, everyone was there present. And in the end, I think we only ended up having to do 2 mod actions, which was nice and quiet.
Oh, okay. I think you have a survey. Is that correct that you're going to be sending out as well to the mods?
Yep, I'll be putting that together and out to the mods tonight.
Great. As far as the mod process, is there anything that you think could have gone differently? I know with our timing this time, because it was our first event of the year, we were trying to get people engaged, re-engaged. The timing was a little last minute for some things. Did you struggle at all in any of your communications or trying to get people or anything like that?
No. Apart from a slight miscommunication between me and Robert Tables on what time zones look like, we were signed up and sort of set up about a week before the event happened, so
it totally could have been my misunderstanding.
To be honest, I completely missed the fact that we were missing 4 hours off the 2 different time zones, so.
Yeah.
Got it. Time zones are hard for me too.
Yeah, outside of that though, we were ready a week beforehand, and even with that slight snafu, we were ready sort of 2 days before the event, and everyone was clear commed and no questions. So
cool. What was the mod, the scene? Or did they have to dial things up a little more? Did they dial things back a little less? And other times, were there any kind of struggles during moderation that we could avoid next time maybe? Welcome, Mr. Fritz.
Hey there.
We are recording, to let you know.
Okay, I'm going to go on mute while I...
Yes, sir.
While I have some early lunch here.
Do it. So yeah, Mark, were there any kind of things that the moderators maybe had to dial it up for a certain speaker or less, or could you see where maybe there was room to offer maybe more things to promote for our sponsors? I don't know. What do you think?
Overall, I think the workload for the mods we had was perfect for the audience we had in the end. The only time we really need to step up more than sort of 1 to 2 mods active at a time is if we end up on front page, because then it gets quite busy quite quickly, as you might remember from Dev Around the Sun time.
Yes.
Quickly that sort of sped up.
Yeah.
But
I think if I remember for Dev Around the Sun, we had 1.2 million viewers at one point when Venkat was on. That was when we had the front page, right? Is that right? That was a lot.
1.2 thousand, yeah.
Oh, 1,000. Okay, yeah. That was a lot.
But yeah,
okay.
Outside of that, there's extra room for additional tasks for the mods if we need it. Yeah, it was quite a light workload from overall.
Okay, all right. Awesome. would you be willing to say a few things, Mr. Robert Tables, David Poindexter? Tell us about, the involvement. I know you've been really super busy. Again, just remembering that this was a skeleton crew and we were, putting things together last minute and we did the best we could. What could we change or do differently the next time for the next conference?
Are we being moderator specific or just my point of view and my
in this
overall
case, I want
involvement?
I want your overall involvement in this case, please. Yeah, for the leadership committee and from helping with some of the
Sure.
web stuff and whatever.
I donated as much time as I could, and it was very, very nice to have Mark be able to really take the reins of the lead aspect of getting the mod group together, because I then had to pretty quickly pivot into website conference page oriented type stuff. So
yeah,
that took away available time that I would have had to do that. So I love that setup. Like, it's fine to have a person who's accountable for activities that happen, and I can be that. But overall, if you combine the during the event duties, we were adequately staffed. We probably had room that we could help with some other stuff.
Okay.
But in the pre-conference stuff, it was stretched pretty thin in a hurry.
Yeah,
so
it sure was.
and sometimes maybe that can't be avoided, right? I mean, it was a fantastic event. I wasn't even thinking of it, and I'm glad we did it. But those kinds of things should probably end up being exceptions rather than the rule,
Yeah, I agree. And we have what's really great is that it's Litany made that document, moving forward for the next event. I'll put all my notes into it and we can connect around that for our next events meeting. And somebody also, we already have an idea for our next June event, which is really exciting. I don't want to get to that yet because I want to talk to Fritz first and hear what he has to say. I also do have some notes from ongoing through the team as well that I added back into the notes. It was assign a web volunteer at the beginning of the process. And then, with the understanding that I'll need that in a few different phases. So first it'll be the conference announcement, then it'll be the speaker's announcement, then it'll be the schedule. So there's three, not to mention just the design of it. There's three kind of phases of the website along the way.
The sponsors as well, because sometimes those come in differently. So like we may have 3 lined up and it's like, great, slap these on, or it may be a drip that comes in. And so it's not like a one and done for the person responsible. They need to be somewhat responsive as new things sort of flow in,
And I'm wondering if it makes sense to have 2 people. I'm wondering if we have a volunteer just kind of oversee an hour maybe of a commitment, but then maybe we even make sense to have a paid something for somebody for a few hours of working on that. I don't know. We'll leave that up to our next events discussion, but we'll keep this to the retrospective right now. And the next thing was reach out to the charity partner right away. I had only spoken to Bree on Friday before the event. I'm glad that I got to reach them, but it took me 10 days to get to that. Their website form was broken. They don't have the contact stuff. They don't have a direct chat. There were a few things, and so just remembering that as well, so that the charity partner then I felt like I would have liked to have a few more conversations before it worked out well, and we were able to raise about $3,400, I think, for our charity with our own contribution as well as our viewers' contribution. So that was great. Another thing was to assign a graphics person early as well. I don't know anything about graphics or sizes or anything on Twitch, so that was tough. And we didn't have the sizes. So I would like, Mark, if you could put the sizes into your document for those, and then I'll also add the social cards, because I wanted to do the MC hosts and give each individual a card like I did for Deborah and the Sun. We just didn't have a lot of that time, but it's something to put in there for next time. Closed captions was interesting. Lucky said he had an idea around that. Fritz, you want to jump in there?
So the challenge with captions with StreamYard is Come on, there it is. The challenge with captions is StreamYard has no facility for it. In order for us to get captions in there, we need to intercept the video and audio before it gets sent out to Twitch. So that means we need to put something in between. And since StreamYard doesn't have it, a couple ways to do it, and we can't even do route it through somebody's machine and have it burned into the video down just below us. Because there isn't one person's machine doing all the collection and outputting. If we're doing that, we don't even need StreamYard.
Right.
I was going to say, aren't we then back to the login to a VM
Right.
situation again?
Right,
Right.
exactly. Which, don't get me wrong, is a tremendous setup, and I know the folks on the team have some strong opinions about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bulletproof reliable is the problem, and there's a level of awareness and knowledge to make that happen, and and to do that type of configuration is it's a bit of do it yourselfness.
Yeah. Got it.
I feel that when we do things like that, you know, and I know people do have their feelings about it, and yes, it can be done really, really nice. However,
Yep.
With all of this that we're talking about, with, you know, moving forward as a retrospective, what can be done better? My big thing I'm focusing on is let's identify those things that could have been single points of failure.
Yes.
And the problem with doing it that old way is that, I mean, it's in the
There's
cloud,
so many
but
layers at
it's
that level.
it's the people with the access and understanding to do it that then become that single point of failure. Right.
And to exactly that point, there's a level of complexity that we're introducing that requires a lot of attention, a lot of skill to manage. That, quite frankly, for where we are right now in event management, we just don't have those assets. Right now, those resources.
Maybe we can all try to manifest and attract a closed caption expert. There's got to be one person out there on Twitch.
So closed captioning, the way that we were going to do it for some of the Microsoft events, is to put a relay box into the mix. So instead of StreamYard broadcasting directly to Twitch, StreamYard broadcasts to another box that's hosted in the cloud, and the only thing it does is takes the input from StreamYard, does the automatic captions on it, it puts that layer on, and relays it back out to Twitch.
Right.
So
that's interesting.
That relay box, hands off, headless, go, do your thing. All you're doing is relaying data. Not hard to put together, but to Robert Table's point here, it's another point that we need to invest some time and make sure we have it set up right.
Okay, got it. Excellent.
And the cost to do that with just Google transcription, minimal. $50-$100 for us to stand up a box for the day running on Azure, and just a VM on the cloud that's listening and relaying. Not hard, but time investment, and something that we can invest some time planning and tinkering with. It'd be great content for somebody to do on one of their streams.
That's what I was thinking, right? That's what I was thinking. That'd be neat. Okay, so moving on. I had two other notes here, and one was that there'd be a few good times where we could switch back instead of going side to side, where we're doing front to camera, especially during April's talk, where she was doing a presentation kind of thing, and that's something to consider. I don't necessarily know if we want to, that would require timing and practice and rehearsal beforehand, right?
Yeah, a rehearsal and sort of having the foresight to know, have we been on a stale screen for too long and we want to bring it back in for closer to the faces? Or what if we do that right when they were about to switch to a thing? We won't know. It was a thing as a viewer kind of watching that for a long time it seemed to stay on the same images, and we've got tiny little April's head in the corner. But yeah, it would have to take some planning and rehearsal and knowing the content and Yeah.
Right. Okay, but that's still something to look at though, again, maybe next year even. And then the last thing would be measuring next time, maybe. If we can start marketing in advance. We put a couple of ads out on Facebook, we put a couple of ads out on Twitter. It was mostly just to raise awareness. Hey, look at our thing. Hey, look at our thing. But next time, if we have some planning in advance, we can actually create a campaign where, we do something like measuring how many people are coming from Twitter. Maybe the Twitter people who saw our ad on Twitter get a special hashtag and they get 2 entries into the drawing, something like that. If you put it into chat and the mods see your hashtag, you'll get 2 entries into the drawing. We want to kind of not only incentivize people, but also to measure how well that reach is going. And are we getting new people? And are we seeing new names, or are we seeing the same supporters? Because if we're seeing the same supporters, that's a pretty good indicator that we need to reach out farther. You know what I mean? And we did put on some things for Facebook and LinkedIn that were just posts. They weren't like Twitter, where we're constantly engaged. There's a press release. There are a few other things that we put up on Facebook and LinkedIn, but I'd like to work those avenues more too, as well. So those were the final things. Fritz, what would you like to say overall about the conference, about how well it went? Were you happy with the time? What are your thoughts?
The event that we did last time, that was November, December?
No.
Yeah, it was back, around October, November-ish time. Yeah, around there.
So we did that for 6 hours, and we had about 900 viewers. So we're kind of frustrated that we didn't cross 1,000. This event we did for 10 hours, and we got about 1,100 viewers. So I feel like we didn't get anything additional for our advertising dollar. I feel like we put in a lot more time and got roughly the same amount of viewers. There wasn't a big jump. Great, we're putting out 4 more hours. We talked it up more. We didn't see an additional, we didn't see an increase. So folks aren't telling their friends that, hey, check out this thing happened. We need to go check it out. We need to figure out how to break through.
Well,
I
think a part of that is that we could do some longer, think about it, if we have twice as much marketing time, we have twice as much opportunity to grab people. I think that's a thing. And I think, like I said, I really would have liked to get out more of those thank you cards for the production team and then tag them so that they are sharing. That creates that sharing part. Hey, look at me, I'm helping here. Even if they're not speakers, it also helps spread that a little bit. I'm sorry, keep going.
No. And right, getting on the front page definitely gets somewhere for us. Do we embed Twitch on the front of livecoders.dev so that even without folks logging in, they can click and they're watching without
I like that.
the overhead of, I got to go to Twitch to watch this thing. I'm not allowed to watch Twitch. They can click and there it is. It's right there.
Great. I love that.
There's
I mean, it's always been sort of a struggle because of certain situations, but doing really strong encouragement of the people on our team set auto host and make sure you're hosting the thing, and sharing the stuff out, because we have enough people on the team. I don't know that it would help, but it sure shows a sign of solidarity that it's being done as a team event and not 5 random people on a committee, right?
Yeah.
No, I really like that. I like, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is just doing these same things with consistency over and over again, right?
Yep.
And so that's really what we're doing now. And now that we have the events meetings, I think we're doing it the first and the third Friday every month. That'll be consistent. Now that we already are starting planning for June, for our June event, I think that's really great. We'll take these notes, put them into its litanies document for that and for planning that. Does anybody have anything else to add? Lucky wanted to say closed captions. Can we do it? So he'll see our video and our notes here, and then he'll know our discussion. And then he also said, I was being silly. I took too much. I shouldn't have taken it on with so much other things going on. I wish I would have helped more. So that's, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we can all agree that this was a really, really miraculous event that we pulled off based on what everybody else is going on, which is fantastic. And Fritz was able to, you know, run his .NET Conf and do his other stuff too without carrying the entire thing, right? I mean, that's huge.
Mhm.
That's yeah.
I think the thing that I'm pretty pleased about is that when asked, Mark and I were able to get quite a few pretty reliable people on relatively short notice that all know exactly what they're doing. There's, you know, there's very little training required. Anyone that was relatively new was able to onboard pretty quickly, and everyone is setting a great example. I think we have that part locked down pretty well at this point.
Excellent. Great. Now, we had talked about and had created some agreements to sign, to have people sign. You know, for this event, it was a pretty small, tight crew. I don't know if the next event we wanna have that where we're managing expectations. You're going to be in charge of the production part. You're agreeing to mod for this slot at this time. Please sign here. You know, certain positions, if you're doing working, you're going to get paid in gift cards for now. Maybe, you know, we might have like we had speaker gifts, we had prizes in between, you know, and anybody from the production team, we can give them gifts as well. I think that stuff is important to lay out in expectations. Do you think that we should, for our next event, have that contract? I mean, I think everybody here has kind of looked at it already about the event agreement.
The challenge with that is that it almost gets too formal for some folks, and then people think this is a job.
Oh yeah, I see.
So
I think for an example of an expectation that would be appropriate is that for Litany and myself, I had a call with Mark and said, hey, you know, we've done this before. Would you like to have an opportunity to be the one that does, you know, this particular role? But ultimately, even if no mod showed up, he and myself would have to be there. And that's just one of those understanding things. So I would be fine if there's more of that, who is ultimately accountable, and they're the ones that have to fully, like, for real commit to the thing, but then let them manage the rest of it so that everyone else can go on about their day. And, you know, at the very least, there's going to be someone there, rather than, let's say we're expecting front page and we need 5 or 6 active people. I mean, aren't we really running around doing that? I mean, because stuff happens, right? People's internet craps out, and then what are we, like, you're breaching your contract, right?
Right.
That's my thought. Mark, what do you think?
So a lot of my thoughts echo yours. I think if you're required to look after or run an area of the event, get them signed up, because they're ultimately going to be responsible and accountable. I think using modern production as an example, I think if we did have something like a front page slot that we knew we were going to have, maybe bring a couple of core people in to guarantee that we've got cover from them there. But for example, I wouldn't say 8 of the moderators that we've got signed up this time needs to be agreed to do an X, Y, and Z slot, because everyone's fairly fluid.
Okay.
Like last minute swap round from Hugo and Copperbeard, who picked that up to swap it round. You wouldn't want to tie him into something like that, because at the end of the day, real life comes first. I think a core sort of team is necessary to make sure we can get a minimum running event.
So then just maybe for the core production team, maybe we'll just have you're in charge, you're in charge, you're in charge. At that level, I'm not too worried about agreements because who's it going to be? It's going to be a leadership committee. It's going to be our founder. It's going to be, me, a consult. So I think that in that case, are we all in agreement that we don't need to sign anything, and that only we'll have just the 3 top producers who are production? You're in charge of these things, or the 4 people. Are we all in agreement? That's fine. No paperwork. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Cool. I'd like to move on to the next event. Just to do.
Let me,
oh, go ahead.
Just to put a dot on the end of that. No paperwork at this size. At some point in the future, we will probably want to reevaluate that if we get to size involvement.
Right.
Right, production quality.
Maybe when we have a closed caption person, it's specifically, if we can have a closed caption person, and we're that big, and we have somebody watching that, and we have all of these other things and so many different layers and moving parts, it might make sense, but we're not there yet. Cool.
No, we're not.
Excellent. That sounds good. All right. So I just want to go take another 15 minutes and just maybe even 10 minutes and overview the next June event. Of course, we will talk about this in the events channel on Discord as well. And I just wanted to open up the notes so far about it. It's pretty exciting. Here we go. Something about events. Oh yeah, Retro Tech. We should do a classic languages conference. Classic languages conference, June 2021, the live coders. Now, we were talking about how would this work? What if we brought it back to the basics and we just have people talking about, basic classic languages, and we give everybody Raspberry Pi to work on? And it doesn't have to be every single speaker, but we can do that, and they can be working on their stuff. We can get some sponsorships in advance instead of trying to really at the last minute. What do you think about this? I'll leave it open. Who wants to go first?
I may not be fully understanding, to be honest. I'm trying to think. I may not be understanding the concept.
So the idea is we've done two events in a row now that have been very very altruistic in tone and haven't been technical in tone.
Been more soft skills. So we were thinking about something more technical and something that would help remove barriers to entry, and everything about the live coders. So much of it is teaching, learning, and then the mentorship in that space, right?
Right.
And so if we take it down to basics, let's go back to basics. We have all of these high level developers, talking about difficult concepts. What if we bring it way back to basics? We do some things with Raspberry Pi program. We bring kids. We could talk to organizations. Was it Coder Dojo? Somebody mentioned they do with kids. What if we have kids watching the conference and we invite them? Now, this is a lot of the work that I used to do with Girls in Tech Las Vegas here. We did a lot of things in the community for Boys and Girls Club, with the Girl Scouts, every few weeks, that kind of stuff. So I'm very familiar with how those organizations kind of operate. And I think that if we do it virtually, this would be a really great opportunity. Hey, partner with the live coders. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think conceptually I'm into it. It would be nice to go back to some more technically focused things. There have been, I think people are now bringing this up less and less. They're not questioning why are the people on my screen not interacting with me in chat, because they're understanding what a conference is and that it's not exactly like an individual's live stream. I think that has been trained out of some people, but you do still get occasional people, and they're not wrong, coming in and saying, is there going to be any live coding on this channel called the live coders from the team called the live coders? And I get it. They're not wrong.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So to go back and get into a more very tech focused set of content that is teaching the basics. Let's do 2-3 hours on JavaScript. Let's do 2-3 hours on Ruby or C#, whatever.
That'd be interesting to have maybe like a stack focused blocks of things.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting idea.
And if we are able to partner with folks, I'm going to choose the Raspberry Pi Foundation because I'm doing a bit with them right now. They have Coder Dojo that they work with. We can certainly set up, hey, here's virtual training from some of the folks who make some of this technology that you can interact with and learn directly from.
Huh. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And if we're using Raspberry Pis, they get a little bit of sponsorship show off in the middle of a stream. We do some cool things besides just writing code on them. It could be fun. It could be interesting. Take a little bit of coordination, but not unheard of.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, that is the cool part too, is that there are pinouts on a Raspberry Pi, so somebody could do a hardware thing to say, hey,
exactly. Yes.
This is it's I don't ever really want to, I feel this way. I don't want to communicate this isn't that hard, because it's coming from a pretty privileged position where I have like bias in my previous knowledge, so it doesn't seem hard to me. But we can at least show this is approachable. This is cheap. This is a thing that any age group can do from 8 to 80. You know what I mean? I love the idea.
Do you have any thoughts on it? It's like me, Mark.
Yeah, I'm the same sort of boat. I think we do need to go back to roots and go back to being technical. I think doing the tech stack blocks is going to be great, and if we can integrate them all into Pi and get them on board as well, then I think it's going to be a really good win. Because I can't remember who it was, but we had someone with the Arduino board on the conference just gone, and there was a lot of interaction from chat and excitement around the different opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah, it was one of the Sarahs, I think.
Oh yeah, Geeky Girl Sarah, that was it.
The Sarahs, right?
Exactly. But
now, Geeky Girl
chat
Sarah
sort of spiked up for that.
Yes. She had applied to join the team, but withdrew her application over the summer.
Really? I didn't know that.
No.
Okay.
Well, I think that, as we've been making all of these changes and communication shifts, and now that we're really starting to re-engage people with different kinds of interests throughout the group, I think that we'll see a lot more being able to attract that energy back, and people getting inspired a little bit more, especially as we accept in these new people from the Nurture program this week. Robert Tables and I will be notifying them this week. And
oh my
then
God, hang on. I'm literally on video. I'm writing this down.
Good.
This is getting done today.
That's great.
Sorry.
I'm about to ping you every hour, brother.
I'm sorry.
I'll do it with
you're
a
right.
smiley face though. Don't worry.
You are
about
right.
it.
That is on me.
So we're working on that together. And I'm really excited to bring them in and see also what they have to say to inject that new fresh information and that fresh perspective. And then we'll have our next applicant intake meeting as well. And, that'll be another level of reviewing our applicants and bringing people in. So, perhaps that will happen again, and we can just keep moving forward from there and doing what we do best.
And I do get a sense, maybe it's just a sense that means nothing, but I do get a sense that, with all the stuff that has happened and gone on in the world, it kind of feels like people are getting refreshed and coming out from a hibernation. Winter is maybe-ish going to end soon. I believe we are in fake spring right now.
Mm.
So here shortly, winter 2 will hit, and then we'll be out of it. And it's, we're getting more daylight, and people are getting more active into their own company's conferences, and things are kind of picking back up. So I'm kind of excited to see what will happen. I think that we'll probably end up with more involvement, than we had for the past 2, probably.
Yeah, I think it's we'll see how it goes. I think as long as there's consistency, like I said, and consistency in communication, and all of the things that we talked about for the new applicants in that meeting, anyone who's in there, as we're talking about setting expectations and managing and communicating with people about what we're working with. I think that consistency will start really gaining up momentum. So I'm looking forward to this event. I think 3 months, we've got plenty of time. Like you said, we already have the mods set and streamlined. We pretty much have the production. I mean, Lucky put it together, even though he says that he was super busy and he didn't have, he has the process down. So, everything went pretty smoothly. I don't think there were any issues there. And I think this will be a really exciting next event as we take these notes and put them back. There wasn't anything really glowing that I had. I was like wondering even about what about afterward? There were no emails that came through, no notes, no complaints, no anything. Everybody was really supportive. So yeah, thanks so much, everybody. So I'll take this meeting and put it up on our YouTube channel. I did not share my Zoom link password on this one, my share screen. So I'll put that up, and the notes. I want to remind everybody, I will be putting a repeating Zoom link for the events tomorrow. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, 11, 12, 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for their events meeting. And we can talk about this whole Raspberry Pi thing, see how that goes. If anybody wants to participate, or you can always reach me on Lucky Girly Girl everywhere on the webs.
Oh,
cool.
Mark, have you told Christina that we will be sending out a survey to the moderators as well?
Yes.
Yep, she brought that up at the beginning.
Oh,
yep.
Okay. I might have missed it. Sorry.
Yep, we sure did. Awesome. So thanks. No, thanks for checking that. Yeah. So as soon as we get those survey results, also from the mods. Maybe it makes sense that I don't know, do we need to survey anybody else? The mods pretty much, they kind of know the whole tone of the entire conference, right? I mean, they kind of carry and understand the dynamic. And so I don't know if it makes sense or not to survey anyone else.
I think the only other thing is speaker feedback. What can we do to improve their experience of it?
It might be really great to see, what was it like from their side, And great. It's possible we may hear a couple of the same repeating concerns, like, hey, this seemed kind of last minute, or, whatever. Right. But it also might help, did you like it? Would you as a speaker be more interested in knowing chat statistics while you were talking? Is that something that would be value add? I don't know what they're going to say, but
what I really like is I really like to put together a metrics, just a little image, a little report retrospective for each conference. Now I know, didn't we say we had an LCC3 archive page, an LCC2 archive page, an LCC1 archive page? Can I get an LCC4 archive page? And then I've got this screenshot of metrics that we can just maybe attach to it somewhere. I'd like to get into the habit of that.
Yeah, I don't know that we have that. And I think that we for sure did not have one for the first 2.
Okay.
In fact, when the very first one happened, I don't actually know that we had a website yet.
I see.
So some of that stuff may be a little bit lost to history, but it's not that hard to set up that sort of a thing.
Well, we wanted to do a media, here was the thing, having a media page, and I'll just leave us on this, but having a media page that has a report of these are the things we've done, here are the kind of results that we've gotten, so that when I'm contacting the sponsors and they say, where are the numbers, I could say, here's the link, go look at everything in the past. Here's the link. That's what I'm trying to get to. And so I really want to have that media page. I need a media page with those metrics. I need a media page with the media kit. with the
Right.
branding style guide. So as we're gaining new members, let's keep an eye out for a web person that maybe you can shoot my way for that.
Okay, yeah.
There,
It
Awesome.
may be something to bring up at both the upcoming events
Oh.
meetings to say, hey, heads up, let's keep in mind this is what we're going to want to try to start doing. So if there's anything we're not capturing, we start capturing it. And then also have the marketing team directly responsible for that kind of stuff, I
Yep,
think,
yeah.
as far as the
Yeah.
web presence. Yeah.
we need to get some screenshots, some clips that were interesting from the event, and be able to
Some highlights maybe that will persist.
exactly.
Great. I like that. Cool. All right. So we know where we're going. Maybe by the end of the year, we can have all of these things checked off. That would be really awesome, right? We've at least got another 2 or 3, who knows, maybe 4 conferences that we can put up this year. And, you know, as long as they're in that spirit of teaching, of learning, and of mentorship, kindness with mentorship to remove barriers and really try to reach as many people as possible into this industry. I wanted to also say, you know, I did talk to a group in Atlanta. They're called D&I. They're Refractor Tech. They do a D&I conference, and I am going to meet with them this week. You know, we were talking about maybe what if we do something where we sponsor some people, maybe we can get sponsorship for 10 setups and do a contest with them and have them do a contest. We do 10 setups with a ring light, a camera, a microphone, just very entry level. And then we offer them a few hours of instruction. You know, we have a live coder do an hour. We have another live coder do an hour, something like that. And then we bring them in also and do an event with all of them. Okay, what'd you learn? All 10 of them, you know, maybe there's something like that. So I kind of like that idea of sponsoring people who might not have gear, and then also partnering with some kind of a group where they could pick all of the people and we do the learning, you know, so we have multiple partnerships in that kind of an event.
There's challenges around giving gear to folks. Because there's so much more you need to stream. That, right, you need a certain class of PC in order to be able to stream. That if you don't have that horsepower, it doesn't matter that we gave you a light and a camera and whatever. The light and the camera and whatever might have a total value at $200. If you can afford the machine to stream, that $200 is nothing to you.
I see.
And there's things like internet connectivity problems. Are they even able to hardwire into anything, or are they totally a Wi-Fi only setup? Which is fine. It's just not a good idea for anything streaming related.
Exactly.
Lighting also another thing that, you know, would be difficult for some people.
Well, even a one ring light would be, I think that even if we do, are you a person who can hardwire? Are you a person who wants to stream? Do you have a machine already? Do you have headphones?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's a thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with setting the requirements for it, though.
Mm-hmm. It's worth thinking. I think I would, for right now, I would put it in the maybe bucket.
Sure,
Maybe
it's in the maybe. It's in the background.
Yeah.
I just wanted to chew on what that would look like if we got that. I don't know. I don't know how it works at all. I'm just throwing things out there.
I get it. And we looked at something like this in June, and it was sure we could put together a kit with a C920. That's a $40-50 camera, ring light, $40-50 ring light. You know, not top of the line, high quality stuff, but
it will work. I mean,
it'll
the peripherals,
work.
the peripherals
get you
will.
started. Yes.
Yeah. It's more like a stream kit. Like it's like a streaming accessories kit or like a stream specific gear kit, but it's not including your mouse, your keyboard, your computer, your monitor, your stream deck, your audio processor. You know, it's that can actually get quite up there.
But do we really need to have all of that stuff just to begin? nice and simply? Do I need to have an audio processor? Do I need to have?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, so here is something for you to chew on as you're
Yeah.
thinking of this concept and you're saying,
Yeah.
hey, is X needed, is Y needed?
Right.
There is the difference between what things are technically needed, right?
Uh-huh.
And we're talking about people that would be participating and speakers and things, like
Uh-huh.
specifically. There's a difference between what is the bare minimum that's technically required
Uh-huh.
and what is the minimum that's going to make them look great and have a great experience doing something with our team. And they're both
Uh-huh.
very different things, you know?
Got it. So I'm wondering if maybe even it makes sense to say, all right, all newbie streamers who already have their gear. All right, we'll think about that. I'm chewing
Maybe,
on it.
yeah.
As I learn
Yeah.
more about what's needed, let me
I mean,
think
that's
about
the
that.
thing.
And I'm open. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find partners is what I'm
Mhm.
looking for. Nonprofit partnerships, things like that. So if anybody has anything that along that lines, kick it around to me, please.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have got this feedback if you didn't, have the courage to bring it up. So keep doing that, right?
Thank you.
It's just a challenging place. It really is. And heck, gosh, if we're going to do reach out to somebody like a Coder Dojo, somebody
Right.
that has facilities in all these places, do they have streaming setups at their facilities already? And we just provide a little bit of training.
Yeah.
Or
Then,
maybe they're lacking like maybe a few stream specific things, but they've got the rest of the stuff. They got rooms, the rooms have lights, they have seats, they have whatever.
we
right?
can send out stream decks to a couple of those facilities. Great. Now you've got one more piece to the puzzle. You already had camera, you've already got lights. Now you've got a stream deck. Maybe we send out
Here's a Go XLR or something like that handles
sure.
all of your other stuff for audio. I mean, to some degree.
But the challenge with the Go XLR is now you're getting, there's like entry level audio engineering that starts happening with that.
It's true. Yeah. It might be too much complexity for them. Baby steps. Yeah.
But a gamer headset, right? If we were to
right.
connect
an Arctis 7. I mean, I'm wearing one right now. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I was going to say, if we connected with Corsair and we were able to do something to put together a Corsair headset and a stream deck, right, and send them to a dozen Coder Dojos, or whatever.
Something, a partnership,
right,
where they're already working with kids. They already have that community, and they have the facilitators there to. Yeah, I love that.
And we help provide some training. They get to show off. Here's how some of the pieces fit together. They get a donation to Coder Dojo. Great.
And who knows, whatever facility that is might say, well, I got all the stuff. I might as well keep streaming.
There you go. There you
really
go.
Cool. Yeah.
The Coder Dojo show of the week, or whoever it is. And I keep going back to them just because that's who I've been helping.
No, it's a good, whoever it works out with, that's a good example. Okay, awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, we're going to talk about events, and I want to review Mark's. I don't know if you're available, Mark, for your spreadsheet review tomorrow at 10, if that's in your...
Yeah, 6 p.m. for me, so that's fine.
Okay, cool, awesome. So I'm probably just going to let you drive the meeting mostly through, you're the example you set, and then we'll put in the notes into there and try to make this Raspberry Pi maybe thing work, or maybe it's a different thing. Maybe it's an Arduino. Like, I don't know. We'll see whatever we work out at the meeting. Awesome. Okay, so thanks so much, everybody. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.